Okay, so I'm making another video, it seems. This one's more of a form of a public announcement about everything. Um, Bear with me, because I'm going to try and read from a script so that I leave as much emotion out of it as I can. Alrighty, mighty. So I find myself sitting here before you guys today to bring attention to a matter of great importance concerning the actions of an individual named Gabrielle Thompson. Just as Jesus has flipped the tables of the Pharisees to confront their hypocrisy, I am metaphorically flipping the proverbial tables to shed some light on hidden truths that need to be brought to light sooner rather than later. My name is Ash, and I am the founder of an organization called Project CALS. For those of you who don't know what Project CALS is, this organization was founded in order to bring justice to those who have been wronged by a corporation, the police, the government, and or its agencies. And we were going to do this by form of class action lawsuit, or known here in New Zealand as a representative action. Unfortunately, Project CALS has recently experienced significant destruction due to Gabrielle Thompson's actions. Gabrielle Thompson, who is a former board member of Project CALS, has breached her fiduciary duty by failing to act in the best interests of the organization. This failure has potentially endangered the entire organization and all of its stakeholders. Additionally, she has violated numerous written and verbal agreements with Project CALS, including agreements with board members, claimants, collaborators, and independent contractors. Gabrielle Thompson's actions have actually gone beyond just breaching contracts. She has wrongfully retained possession and control over Project CALS's accounts and intellectual property. This has impeded on the organization's operations and infringed upon our legal rights. Her actions have caused significant harm to Project CALS by disrupting our relationships with claimants, with collaborators, and with independent contractors, as well as affecting our overall business operation. Now, after doing all of this, Gabrielle has now decided to create a new organization which goes by the name of NZRAA, or New Zealand Representative Action Alliance, which is eerily similar to the name we had chosen to rebrand Project CALS to after we'd gotten through all this damage that Gabrielle has actually caused. Regrettably, Gabrielle Thompson has also resorted to defamation, making false claims and damaging statements about Project CALS, its board members, and its stakeholders. These false statements have harmed our reputations and have caused people like Anne Hodgkinson and Ange Bowerman of Silent No More, Erica Whittam and Liz Lambert of the Number 8 Workers Union to harass myself and other board members who are trying to mitigate the impact of Gabrielle's actions. Now, funnily enough, these two organizations are now working with NZRAA, which also breaches the NDAs that they signed with Project CALS. But okay. Now, moreover, Gabrielle Thompson's negligence has jeopardized the safety and well-being of Project CALS's claimants, collaborators, and its independent contractors. Her failure to follow established processes, procedures, policies, and protocols has put individuals at risk. And we believe this is still occurring with NZRAA. Gabrielle Thompson's actions extend even further into breach of confidence, as she has accessed and attempted to obtain sensitive client information and Project CALS's intellectual property, as well as having individuals and organizations involved with Project CALS without first having these people sign a non-disclosure agreement, which was put in place to not only protect Project CALS's intellectual property and its industry secrets, but as well as our clients' private and confidential information. And additionally, Gabrielle Thompson's unauthorized access to secure drives and control over our website constitutes a violation of the Crimes Act 1961, in particular sections 249 to 252, which addresses unauthorized computer access. Her mishandling of sensitive client information and Project CALS intellectual property also raises concerns over privacy violations. By disregarding the Privacy Act 2020 and the non-disclosure agreement she signed with Project CALS, Gabrielle Thompson has demonstrated an absolute lack of respect for confidentiality and privacy. These actions have caused harm to Project CALS and its stakeholders. And lastly, Gabrielle Thompson's behavior has crossed the line into bullying and harassment by intentionally causing emotional distress to board members and volunteers, then neglecting their concerns, and then conducting inappropriate resolution meetings. By doing this, she has violated the Harassment Act 1997, the Harmful Digital Communications Act 2015, and the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015. So in light of all these egregious violations, Project CALS has taken legal action against Gabrielle Thompson. We are currently awaiting the courts to accept our civil case against her, and we trust that justice will prevail. I decided to bring this matter to your attention today because many of the people she has hurt feel unable to speak up. As the founder of Project CALS, I will be their voice. It is essential that the truth is known and that Gabrielle Thompson's actions are brought to light before further damage is done to the people attached to her and to those hoping to seek justice for the wrongs that have been done against them. What has happened to me personally by Gabrielle Thompson as my friend, as my sister in Christ, and as my colleague has been unfathomable and unacceptable in any form of relationship whatsoever. She has stolen my projects and my information, used me, abused me. She has slandered me throughout our entire friendship behind my back. Things like calling me a paranoid stoner, mentally unstable, under spiritual attack, a witch, a government man. I mean, the list goes on. All the while blowing wind up my ass and pretending to be my friend, my sister, and my colleague. Now, I actually resigned from Project CALS on April the 1st. Why would someone resign from their own organization? Well, I was treated like absolute shit by Gabrielle, by Juanita, and by Jim. I was belittled, spoken down to, I was treated like a fool, and any input I had into Project CALS and how it should be run, what policies needed to be in place, etc., was laughed at, told no, stolen from me, and twisted into Gabrielle's idea. All the while, A, I was the founder who wrote the manifesto and all the founding documents, B, I was the head of administration, and C, I was the head of legal. But go figure. I was the stupid one, right? I had informed the board I was resigning, and that night I wrote a heartfelt message to them all explaining how I was feeling and why I felt it best I resign. This message was ignored. All Sunday, the ladies continued to banter backwards and forwards and completely ignore what I had said. In this message, I had advised that I will continue my duties to the fullest extent until my 2-week resignation period was finished. This didn't seem to go well with Gabrielle, who then decided to belittle me and demand I get on a phone call to discuss my resignation. Regardless of how many times I told her I was not comfortable with that and that I would carry on with my work, this then turned into her exposing what had actually happened. It turns out the person who claimed to be my best friend, Lisa Richmond, had fooled me into thinking that she was a safe space for me to confide into and to vent to her how I was feeling. But instead, I was gaslit, and anything I did message or say to Lisa was immediately screenshot and sent back to Gabrielle, who then sent it to Ginny and Juanita. I did not bend to Gabrielle's will, of course, so I was then locked out of the accounts I was actively using to work for our clients, sending emails to courts, police, and prosecutors, as certain individuals actually had court cases pending in which I was assisting. I, of course, immediately recognized this has happened, and when I addressed it, I was again ignored and then gaslit once more. I told them I was going to take this to court as this was not only highly illegal, but also immoral. This is when they wanted a resolution call and Lisa Richmond as the mediator. This resolution call went for 5 hours, after which there was no resolution at all, due to this meeting just being a setup to gaslight me once again. Thankfully, I had asked Robert Talkler to be present as my support person, and boy did they hate that, because Robert Talkler happened to be privy to the planning and conspiracy cooking Lisa and Gabrielle had been up to and what was being said behind my back by both of them. This resolution call clearly didn't work in being able to gaslight me enough to point me out to be the bad guy. So to satisfy whatever hate there was for me, the next day they had a 3-hour phone call where they went over my text messages to Lisa one by one, literally scrutinizing my pain and anguish word by word and laughing, belittling me, and questioning my sanity and integrity, and had the gall to record it and upload it. As you can imagine, after seeing this video, I no longer gave a single shit about any of them. And all I wanted to do was find out who the fuck was around me, who was pretending to be my friend, and who was actually for the people. Upon researching, I quickly found out about many of the individuals Gabrielle has brought on board and their dangerous connections and the fraud they have been enacting on the people for years. Like some of the people we had really high up in Project CALS in important positions, one of which being an active member of Action Zealandia, which, if you don't know, is a racist white supremacy organization. This didn't seem to faze Gabrielle when I told her. Or like another individual who claims to be a lawyer, but from the information that I found has never actually been a lawyer before. Or like our insurance expert, who just happens to be an international insurance fraudster and has class action lawsuits held against him. Again, Gabrielle wasn't fazed. She instead said she knew all of this. And I was the one that couldn't be trusted with Project CALS and it needed to be protected from me. Or is it that I'm too straight of an arrow and became aware of too many things that I needed to be taken out of the equation? Gabrielle kept me on the outskirts, of course, every now and then tapping into my knowledge so she can appear not as inexperienced as she actually is. Shit seemed to not be going well for Gabrielle and Project CALS as she asked if I was ready to come back on board with Project CALS, which I said, not in the capacity that I was in the past, and I am happy doing what I'm currently doing. But what I can do is be a part of the board as a silent board member and assist where needed. Shouldn't like that. Gabrielle wanted a lackey, not an equal. So a few days later, I was then contacted by Ginny, who seemed to be extremely concerned about Project CALS and what Gabrielle was doing. It appeared that I was right back in March and April that Gabrielle Thompson had been muscling her way into control of Project CALS. And she had now self-appointed herself as managing director of Project CALS. I've never laughed so hard. We spoke with Juanita and decided to put the board back together and reached out to Gabrielle. She went nuts, invoked Anna Hodgkinson and Ange Bauman, who poked their nose in and tried to mediate a call, which didn't go well as, of course, they had an agenda for Gabrielle. Gabrielle then decided she would resign rather than resolve. What did end up happening is Silent No More then started an absolute attack on Project CALS, scaring their members and our clients, and had people emailing wanted their information back. She advised she would do a complete handover. This, of course, never happened. Gabrielle and Anna Hodgkinson then had Matthew Haig send a threatening letter to Ginny. That's right, Matthew Haig, the Defence Force lawyer of Frontline Law. You know, the lawyer who won the police and Defence Force mandate case in the Wellington High Court while we were all conveniently occupying Parliament grounds. Yeah, that Matthew Haig. I replied to Matthew and never heard back from him. Funny, because if they did have any legal standing, you would think he would have responded, right? He didn't, though. He just disappeared. But seems he may still be working with Gabrielle. Interesting, a respected lawyer would put his career on the line knowing full well about the situation, as I ensured to advise him in my response. I know he got it, because so did Silent No More and Gabrielle. How do I know they got it too? They contacted us with more attacks and harassment. And you all wonder why the freedom movement can't get any ground? Because you have people who won't let it get any ground. I won't go into any more details. I think this should be enough context and information for people to be able to make their own minds up. Thank you all for your attention, and I encourage anyone with information or who has been affected by Gabrielle Thompson's actions to come forward, and together we can ensure that justice is served. You are more than welcome to message me. You're more than welcome to comment. I implore you to make a video and tag me or post it below, anywhere, everywhere. This type of stuff needs to stop. There's too many people being hurt. by one individual, and one individual is getting away with it time and time again. And why do people not say anything? Fear, loyalty, um, the fact that their heart's been broken because they thought that they had a true friend in somebody and then found out that was never true. So it's disheartening. And I hope that this gives anybody courage or information or whatever is needed. That's all I have to say. If you want to know more, I have receipts. I have the recordings. I have my evidence. And I'm coming correct. I hope that Gabrielle can do the same. And before anybody thinks anything bad of Ginny and Juanita, we've been able to resolve all our differences like adults. And we've been able to reinvigorate our friendship, refresh our friendship. And I think that is what part of growth is, part of forgiveness, part of becoming a better person is just being able to recognize the mistakes that you've made, things that you could have done better, being a big enough person to take accountability for your own actions because, hey, I'm not innocent and I've taken accountability for mine. And it's unfortunate that Gabrielle just is unable to do that. She carries on creating cyclones and hurricanes here, there, and everywhere and not cleaning up after them. To me, she just seems like a clout chaser. And as soon as an idea loses momentum, she'll hop onto the next one. And I really hope that her intentions are pure with NZRAA. And I really hope that the people involved in NZRAA are safe and that everything, all of their information and everything they have put forward for this type of organization won't go down the drain, considering the laws and the common law torts that Gabrielle has broken, that she now needs to be held to account for, whether she likes it or not. Can't hide from the truth. Thank you once again, everybody. Have a good night.